Good afternoon, everyone from a scorchio Guildford. It is absolutely toasting and I should be out on that balcony. But no, I am here talking to you because I have a great guest today. Her name is Kerry Kidd. She is Scottish, so automatically she's more epic than other guests. She has a magazine that she writes about, that she'll tell us about. She also does training and teaches kids how to code with Raspberry Pi. So we're going to find out more about that as well. And yeah, that's it. It's been a pretty quiet week. I have not been doing any more crazy book writing or talks. I'm really excited about hosting a roundtable tomorrow on procurement data. Looking forward to that. But without any further ado, let's get Kerry on. So, hello, Kerry. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I have automatically gone more Dundonian just by for about 3 minutes. So,
yeah,
that's not a bad. Well, Broughty Ferry-ish, that's fine. Dundonian, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
So, whereabouts are you? Are you Perth?
Yes.
Yeah. So, that is about, what, 30 miles from Dundee?
Like 20, 30 miles, yeah.
Yeah. So much nicer background, lots of hills for anyone watching who doesn't know where that is. And I guess it is full of people that need help with coding and training and need magazines.
Yeah, you could say that, though. I suppose most of the work I do is in Dundee because that's where all the tech background is.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of good, I can't even believe I'm saying that, a lot of good stuff has come out of Dundee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so how did you get started?
So I originally started by doing a computing degree, which was way back.
Does that even exist anymore, or have they changed the name of that now? You know, everything's got to be like a scientist or a data thing.
Yeah, well, that's what confused my parents when they went to graduation because it was on the sciences.
Yeah.
They were kind of confused by that one. It's like, yeah, it's computer science.
Yeah.
But so started off doing that and then came out in the middle of recession. No jobs to be had up in Scotland or anywhere really.
Yeah.
So I went back into, well, what you do best, coming from small towns in the middle of Scotland, you go back into catering and cafes and hospitality work. So I did that for a few years. Then I started to play about with Raspberry Pis and do more hobbyist computing and kept getting asked to go and do talks and workshops. So I thought, well, there's money to be made here.
Yeah. So what came first, the magazine or?
Raspberry Kidd came first. So I was going out and doing sort of workshops and training for kids and sort of community groups. And then the magazine came in 2017. So it had been about a couple of years before we made it official sort of thing. Because
you've done really, really well with it. You've got a co-founder and you've taken it from literally nothing to something that's really successful without any support from, you know, publishers or anything like that, haven't you?
Yep, we were all self-published. We were doing really well with the publications and things, but we did decide that it was too much time for us to be volunteers because we weren't getting paid anything for it at the time.
Yeah.
So last year during lockdown, plus we didn't know how postage and stuff was going to be through lockdown.
Yeah.
So we decided we'd then take it to basically back to an online blog, so we can then put in more time. It would be less time for us, but it meant we could also spend more time putting out articles rather than having to wait and trying to build this magazine. And yeah, the graphic design work was just killing us.
Yeah, that's really tough. And what about, how did you get your audience? How did you find them?
That is a good question. The audience just kind of found us. So we were both involved in education. I mean, at that point, Josh was still in school.
Yeah.
So I mean, I started this as like a 16-year-old, which is just crazy. But he is a very talented software developer. So he had all his connections within the Microsoft Foundation themselves and other educational establishments and things. So he had all the big sort of connections and things. So it was a case of, right, I've got this idea of what do you think? And he then went off, did a bit of digging, and was like, "Yep, we're not stepping on anyone's toes. They're quite happy for us to go away and do it." So we just basically set up a Twitter handle, took to Twitter and around like, "We're starting this thing. Send us articles."
Brilliant. I mean, it's such a great story to show that, you know, if something doesn't exist, just go and make it. Just go and do it.
Yeah, I mean, all this came about because I helped coordinate a young coders conference actually in Tate Modern. So,
oh, wow. Oh, I love that. Well, I say I love that place. I used to love it. I haven't been for a wee while, but the last couple of times I've been, I felt like it wasn't as good as it used to be.
Yeah, I felt that as well. So I'd done Tate Modern, I think, one of the first years I ever went to London.
Yeah.
My auntie and I did it again a few years later, and yeah, it wasn't as great as what we remembered.
Yeah. I literally could have just spent days in there before, and then now they've got the extra bit, and it's like, I don't know, it's less modern than it was before. I don't know. Yeah.
So we basically had a group of there were 12. In fact, I think the youngest one was 10 to 16-year-olds, developing workshops using the microbit to then go and run the workshops that they were creating the following day to the general public coming into Tate Modern. And it was then that I sort of got to know about the microbit a bit more. It's like, well, what resources are there for this? I mean, Raspberry have all their magazines, all these sort of tutorial websites and everything.
Yeah.
I could not find a lot for the microbit, so that's when it sort of brains are ticking over, and it's like, well, what can we do to help this? So that Micro Magazine was born.
That's great. And what is in Micromag? And that's probably a really bad question. I should know what's in it, but what kind of content is in it?
So within Micromag, we had news articles. We did big cover feature articles. So we talked about something different every month, including building a very cheap robot.
Nice.
So this is a robot kit that you could literally buy. I think you could get all the parts and stuff for around about £10.
What?
So the kids could develop like a really cheap robot. And then we had like make articles and things as well. We had one called Micro Hit that a regular writer wrote for us, and it was basically like a mini tutorial every month.
Yeah.
So every issue that was published that way, until they had to go off and work for a bigger publication and was no longer allowed to do their little freelance jobs anymore.
Wow. And are you covering a whole range of different like topics and things in the mag?
We are, so it can vary from robots to temperature sensors to sensing the environment. So we've had sort of people sort of monitor plants and everything using the microbit, as well as you're now getting sort of into the IoT type stuff as well. So there's add-on boards that you can sort of monitor your house and everything with now.
Yeah, I went to a cybersecurity talk once, and they basically showed us how they could hack into like teddy bears and washing machines and kettles.
Yep.
It freaked me right out. But I do like the IoT stuff. I saw it working really well with vending machines.
Oh yeah.
I like, you can even like send your order now before you get there and stuff. But from a manufacturer point of view, they could see like how much of each product they had left when they needed more. It's pretty cool.
I still want to see vending machines come across here selling electronics. You get them in Japan and China and stuff. There has been literally people posting up pictures before of vending machines stocking Raspberry Pis.
I was on another call, and it was vending machine with, I think, was it my brother actually that might have told me about it? They were somewhere, and you get vending machines with ramen in them.
Yeah.
Hot ramen. They were just like, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's just like, yep, you grab it now, yeah, go here, you can take out a vending machine. Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah. So what is the craziest tech thing that you've heard of?
Oh.
I'm still pretty impressed by a £10 robot. I mean, that would keep a kid like occupied for a while.
Oh yeah. Well, this is kind of developed onto another project as well that I'm doing. So I'm part of Dundee Box. So we got funding from the mechanical engineering institute, and they basically were part of funding in a big pot, and they gave us sort of £5,000 to go into Dundee and develop cheap robot kits that we can be taken to schools and get into 5 areas of Dundee coding.
Wow.
So we got all this just at the beginning of the year, but obviously we've not been able to do much due to COVID. I've just been within like the last month that I allowed back into classrooms.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's kind of like we're now, school holidays are up now, having to think about the resources and stuff and trying to get something set up so once the schools go back, we can hopefully have some form of robot stick in with us.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. And so with the Raspberry Pi stuff, like, did you start by having an interest in that and then decided to train other people?
Pretty much, yeah. So I basically managed to con my brother and sister into buying me one for Christmas when it first came out. Basically, I wanted to see what it was all about. I wanted to know what this new electronics craze was, and so from there I ended up having to teach myself how to solder as well, because a lot of the add-ons and stuff for the Raspberry Pi, so a lot of the motor controller boards and everything at that point came unsoldered.
Oh wow! So you learned the whole process then?
Yeah. So literally going back to basics from the Raspberry Pi was basically the hobbyist electronics, like what you had back in the 1980s with the ZX Spectrum and everything, and
we had one of those.
Yeah. So I've just been actually reading up about all them again as well, because Raspberry Pi Foundation have just released a book of basically the computers that inspired the next generation from the 80s. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
So at what age do you start, or could you start with a Raspberry Pi or coding?
So for coding, I would normally start kids at 7, 8 years old.
Wow.
Last February, I had my 6-year-old little cousin programming a microbit.
Nice.
So yeah, literally, if you're willing to sit down with a child and show them the basics and play to their strengths, you can start them at pretty much any age.
Yeah, there's a guy in the data community called Mike Wimmer. He's about 12. He's just graduated like years ahead of his time. He has built the equivalent of a £500,000 robot all on his own, programmed it all. He is amazing. So yeah, kids are taking over the world, totally.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, we were like that because I showed her how to program microbit and stuff last year. Then obviously with lockdown and everything hit after that, and they were running out of computers in the house for the kids to learn sort of homeschooling and things. So my auntie and uncle literally went out and bought a Raspberry Pi 400 for them to learn and do their schoolwork on.
Wow.
The Raspberry Pi 400 is basically a Raspberry Pi built into a keyboard.
Yeah.
So because of the keyboard and mouse, you just need to plug it basically into a TV or an HDMI monitor to be able to have it up and running.
Wow. We've got wow, that's cool. We've got Abdul saying our floppy disk's making a comeback. Imagine a floppy disk shaped USB stick.
Oh man. You say that. I recently, I think it was on Friday night, I listened to a podcast and someone had found a floppy disk full of old game code. So basically a game from way back sort of for the NES, and they found a disc with all this old code on it. So they went and managed to remaster this game and add hidden scenes and everything that weren't even on the original. I
mean, I was thinking of, when I had to do my dissertation, it was on 2 floppy disks because it was so big.
Yeah.
It's crazy how far we've come.
Oh, yeah.
And on the Spectrum, you have to sometimes put 2 tapes in to load it up if it was a big game. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I remember. It was a VIC-20 was the first computer that I ever played on, so a Commodore VIC-20, which actually reading about that was what revolutionised the home computing scene way back in the 1980s. Wow. So yeah, so this computer at the time when I would have played on it was probably near enough 10 years old. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just thinking now, like, how small everything is. Oh, yeah. I had to buy, a tower computer when I was in my last year at uni, and it was Lotus Notes.
Yep.
And their equivalent of Word. And so every time I switched from home to uni, which was Microsoft based, the format would change. And then it was back and forward. And yeah, it was such a nightmare. And dial up back then.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, mum and dad always thought about putting broadband in the house before I went off uni, because I was still sort of staying at home while studying in Paris. So it was a case of I was travelling every day. And yeah, that's where they kind of thought, right, your sister's gone into high school, she's going to need the internet more. You're in college, you're needing it. So yeah, we need to kind of do something about our internet speed here.
Definitely. Oh, we've got another flashback.
Oh.
5. Oh, here's another one for you. Remember Netscape? The browser. It used to crash all the time.
Yep.
And it was Ask Jeeves was the Google of the time.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all coming back. And dial up, yeah, he's laughing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, and now kids can pick up phones and just like do. My friend was telling me just at the weekend that her son, who is like 8, managed to go into the iPhone and set it up so that it would recognize his thumbprint. You know,
yeah.
Like it said, oh yes, sorry, reminiscing here. LimeWire.
Oh yeah.
We've all been there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Pirates of Music back in the day. Yep.
Yeah. So how do we get kids started and interested? What's the best way to get them started?
I think it's a case of if they've got an interest in technology, it's just putting something in their hands.
Yeah.
So what I like about the Microbit and the Raspberry Pi is that you can actually integrate it with the outside world. So like make a robot with it, or you can get them sort of flashing an LED or pressing buttons. So that's something still happening. Yeah. And like going back to like how we would have learned on like the Spectrums and Commodores and all the rest of it, was text on the
joystick.
Yeah.
Remember the joystick?
So yeah, so let's programming with text on the screen, maybe with like one line output for however many lines of code you put in. So at least now they can see something physical happening.
Yeah. So is it expensive to get started?
The Microbit is between £12 and £15. So literally pocket money range.
I think it was like 12 and 1500. I was like, I've been looking at for too long.
Then Raspberry Pi can range, you can pick up like a cut down Raspberry Pi for like £5. And then their full blown top of the range sort of ones are £50 now. And like they were the £30 computer when it first came out. So the mid range ones are still £30.
Okay, so that is really affordable, and that's going to last as well. It's not just a computer game or.
Well, that's the case as well. They've made it that affordable that if kids are playing with it and if it breaks, it's not the end of the world. It's cheap enough to kind of go and buy another one.
Yeah.
You know, compared to them who broke a laptop that cost like £500.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Abdul was saying make it relatable yet enjoyable. Like things like. Oh, so yeah.
Yeah, well, Minecraft is one of the ones that we had. So you get Minecraft Pi, so you get a Minecraft version for the Raspberry Pi. So you can so we had kids in the code club that sat at the back and you find them playing Minecraft. So I went over to them at one point, it's like, right, you can play Minecraft, but as long as you code in it. And they just looked at me. So the Minecraft and the Raspberry Pi, you can actually program using Python. So you start sort of making sort of blocks and everything and up here.
You've turned into a cat.
Yeah, I don't know if notifications are coming on the phone, so it shouldn't because it's on D&D, but yeah, occasionally the camera just disappears.
I love it.
But yeah, so we thought, right, if you want to play Minecraft, you need to code. So we showed them sort of Python interface and stuff, and they started coding away in Python to program Minecraft.
See, that's the way to get them engaged.
Oh yeah. That is, and same with because Microsoft have obviously got the education edition now of Minecraft as well.
Yeah.
The project I was involved in last year was creating educational resources for Minecraft. So for the educational version, I was the only copy editing and everything for that. So it was basically a small team. There's only about 5, 6 of us that were developing resources and copy editing them and getting them approved by Microsoft.
Wow.
So yeah, so there's copy editing done by me literally on the Microsoft Store now, which is kind of crazy.
So I guess, was your training online before, or was it in person? Has it changed now in the last 12 months?
Yeah, most of the stuff I did was in person, so there wasn't a huge amount online. All my tutorials that I wrote and everything were all sort of blog format and on sort of websites and things. But over sort of the pandemic and everything, it's a case of, well, how can I make this more interactive? So I went away and taught myself how to start making tutorial videos and video editing and basically upskill my skills to be able to update the website.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
So yeah, so
what did you learn from that then? Because I need to do more videos and stuff, but I just can't be bothered with the editing part. How did you find that?
I love the editing part. So I just recently finished work actually editing a whole load of masterclasses for a company.
Oh, brilliant! That's great.
So yeah, so as well as upskilling sort of for myself last year, yeah, I've actually managed to get paid work out of it now as well.
That's amazing.
But yeah, no, I'm the same. It's the video setup for me is a bit annoying because obviously the background I've got here isn't great. Cats just make a mess everywhere, which doesn't help.
We want to see the
cats. Yeah, I don't know where they're hiding, but yeah.
You see, with my brother's dog, if you go treats, but that doesn't really work with cats.
No, we need to cover treats here, cats will shake, and then they become loving.
So it's just like the TV ad then, you shake them and they do come.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm just starting to get into some form of video layouts and stuff that I can use.
Yeah.
So I can now set up the tripod behind me and have it point towards computer screens. So there's a bit more sort of background that way, as well as above me I've now got a Mike and Mike poster, so it kind of looks all in brand. And
yeah. Oh, nice. The Micromag, is that, I guess, is it in print or is it online?
It's all online now. We did have print, which was doing quite well, but as I say, to do the print copies and do magazine in general was taking up a lot of our time, and we were getting less and less time. So we put it all online. So all the print versions were also available as digital copies. So they're still online. And now the magazine itself is just basically a blog format. So it's a case of we'll just post the articles as and when we have them.
Great. We've just got another question here. So what tools are you recommending to learn and practice video editing? Yeah, I'm one of the poor people, definitely.
So I have used OpenShot in the past, which is a free and open source video editing software available on all good platforms. I myself use Premiere Pro and Premiere Rush. So Rush I like because you can literally do it on iPads, phones, or the computer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I like that one for out and about, and then Premiere Pro for doing a lot more sort of advanced stuff. So I find that easier if you need to cut and edit audio more than what you do just the video clips. Another one I'm about to look into though, because yeah, I'm the same. We've currently got Adobe software free at the minute, which could get taken away from us. So, so I'm about to look into DaVinci Resolve because there's a free version of that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. I remember you telling me, wasn't somebody gave it to you or something, or sponsor?
Yeah. So again, Josh being Josh, he was at a conference and we taught him well. Basically, taught him that shy birds to getting out, so just go and ask for stuff. And he happened to ask this company that supplied all the licenses for Adobe Creative Cloud around the schools in London. So he met this guy and was just like, we do this community magazine, we don't make anything from it. Can you give us a license? So the guy said it would last us for 2 years, and I think we're now into our 3rd year. So
you've done well out of it.
Yeah, so we're just hoping that it doesn't get cut off. If it does, it's a case of, yeah, we need to think of other ways.
Yeah. So what's the website for the mag?
It's micromag.cc.
I'll put the link in the... I didn't even know there was a CC.
I can't remember what the CC is for, but for us, it was, we basically chose it because it kind of represents Creative Commons, which is what the magazine is. So
yeah, how interesting. Yeah, there you go, people.
Yeah, loads of great articles in there about how to get started with Microbit, as well as we also did a test coverage last year of the Microbit 2 that came out after we got early access for it, so that was kind of interesting.
Great, I'm just having a quick look now at the site. It's nice. Who did your site? It's really nice.
We did that ourselves. So Josh and I are both software developers, so yeah, we can quite easily go in it and do stuff like that.
Very slick. I like it. So yeah, there's loads of resources on here. So I definitely encourage you to go and have a look and check that out. What do you think? I mean, you're probably seeing trends and new tech and stuff like that. What's the next thing that's coming that everyone's going to be talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to say. I mean, everything moves on that quickly. I mean, we're already thinking, well, the Raspberry Pi 4 came out 2 years ago. Like, so what are they going to do next? Yeah. But then they brought out like a cheap microcontroller this year as well. So they've developed their own chips now. And they're literally selling their own chips for like £1 each. So they've literally got this little microprocessor that they've developed, and the board itself costs like £3.
Wow. But so, I mean, we've got a kind of global kind of shortage coming of a lot of stuff, don't we?
Oh yeah. Yes, I've been quite with that already this year.
Really? So what have you seen that's?
My computer basically died on me about a month ago.
Oh no.
The graphics card got packed in, and obviously at this point I was doing video editing and everything, and needed a computer and decent graphics. And it's like, yeah, I was going to try and buy a graphics card. I would either pay over the top or not find one anywhere.
Yeah.
So my option was basically to buy a Mac Mini. So I've now upgraded to a Mac user for about half the price of a desktop computer.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, my workflow is better on Mac, but Macs were just kind of out of my budget until I had funding and money coming in. So it's like, yeah. Plus, getting a refurbished Mac was cheaper than buying a new desktop. So it's like, yeah, no brainer.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of prices of a lot of things are going to go up. I'm hearing about more supply chain issues in China where ports are shut because they're in lockdown. So that's holding more stuff up. And it's more serious than what happened in the Suez Canal in terms of the number of the value of goods that are stuck or not getting moved.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna have to make do with what we've got or refurbish. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, my computer was due to get an upgrade anyway, so it was about 8 years old, so it was going kind of slow, but I was making do, and it's like, right, that gets done once we actually have a decent supply chain and stuff again. Yeah. And then it's like, crap, the main bit that I need has just got broke, and I can't do anything about it. Yeah. But then upgrading to the Mac, I'm now able to render videos in less than half the time than what my PC was taking.
That's cool. I mean, I think I've had my laptop about just over 2 years, and already I'm like, maybe get a new one. The one before that, I think I had for 4 years, and I was like, but it's always, you open the shiny new laptop, and before you start installing everything on it, it just runs so smoothly.
Yeah, well, I was like that with my laptop as well. The speed of it was just so much better, but now I've got the Mac, it's like, yeah, everything's booted up within seconds. It's just like, yeah, I can work and straight away. But no, it was like, because I needed a new laptop, I think it was about 3-4 years ago now, and basically turned around and said to Mum and Dad that I need a laptop, give me money for Christmas so I can go and buy a laptop.
Yeah.
Then literally looking about Christmas Day, it's like, there's no envelopes for that line about what's going on here? For me, literally, for them and my brother to put together, that's to buy me the laptop that I wanted.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, so it's kind of like, I even said to my sister as well, she was like, well, what do you want for Christmas? It's like, see what Mum and Dad's doing with money or vouchers and just get me the same so I can actually go and buy the laptop.
Yeah.
And then then I get the box and it's like, wait a minute, this is
Oh, yeah, there you go. Just
yeah,
testing it.
that's the thing about using a phone wirelessly for a webcam. But again, last year through the pandemic, you couldn't buy webcams to start with. So that's find something.
Yeah. Well, that's a good signal you've got for being out in the sticks.
Oh yeah.
You're not quite out in the sticks, but
my Wi-Fi just got upgraded about a month ago as well, so it's great.
Oh, nice. Yeah, mine's just not too bad. It had a few bumps, but it seems to be better now. I think there was a problem with the exchange.
Okay, yeah.
Because I moved and still had the same issues, and it's like it's a new router. It's like can't really be that then.
Nope.
So yeah. So have you always been interested in computing then? Was that always something that you wanted to do?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, from a young age, I grew up playing on the VIC-20 and like the Sega Mega Drive and everything as well. They were like the first things that I actually remember
Sonic,
playing.
the greatest game.
Oh yeah, I've literally last year, my dad and my brother were clearing out the attic back home. I didn't get to them before the VIC-20 got thrown away, but I managed to get to them before the Mega Drive went. And my brother came and looked at me and was like, Mega Drive's here, but it's not going to work anymore. I hooked it up to my TV and everything. It's like, you want to bet? And it literally works on a modern TV and everything. It's just like, yeah, this is
amazing. Oh,
so
that would be so cool. And TVs are so much bigger now as well. So
yes, I have a proper Mega Drive sitting underneath my TV, and I think an Amiga 500 as well. So I have some old games.
All the retro stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm just disappointed that they threw away the VIC-20 because I still want a VIC-20 in the house, and they're going for like over £100.
Keep editing those videos.
Oh yeah.
So I guess that's a really good thing. You've had to. I hate the word. I'm going to say the word, but I hate the word pivot. A little bit. But it's obviously worked for you.
Oh yeah.
Was it? But it sounds like it was more of a kind of happy accident. But how did you even find your first video editing client?
So it was through the Women's Business Station in Dundee. I don't know.
Nice.
So basically, again, network of women. Sort of again, they had to pivot a lot during lockdown and everything as well. Sort of for the resources and things they were doing. Everything was in person until last March. So then we were literally sitting on video calls at lunchtime and trying to figure out how to use Zoom. And she was like, what happens if we click this button? What happens if we do that? And
we've lost someone. Where have they gone?
Yeah, so it was a case of they came to me at the end of April, beginning of May, and it was a case of we have these videos needing edited for a new platform. Would you do the work? Because they knew I was getting fed up doing what I'm doing, working part-time in the chippy. They knew I want out of that as soon as possible. So it's like, if we can actually help you get money and do something that you actually love, well,
brilliant.
Yeah. So let's give it like 3 months work of video editing, and once the new platform's up, then got to go and put the videos over onto that platform and everything.
Fantastic. So hopefully that will then showcase your work, you get more clients.
Yep.
But like if you did want to explore that more, like freelancer websites are quite good. So there's like Upwork, people per hour. If you want to get, sometimes they don't pay great, but it would get you good experience.
Yeah, well, that's the next thing that I'm doing. So I recently revamped my website as well. So obviously up until beginning of this year, it was all about the educational side, and then doing bits of sort of helping friends mainly with their websites and things. I started to love the coding of that side again, and then started to explore other programming languages and things again for sort of web development and things. So I've now recently gone back and thought, no, let's go and revamp the website and actually offer some more of the computer skills that I can actually do as well as the educational stuff.
Brilliant. And what if there were some people watching who weren't based in Scotland who wanted some training? Do you have like a list of training courses available, or is it on your website, or?
Literally everything is on the website at the minute. The education site is still under construction. That will hopefully be finished within the next few weeks.
What's your website?
So it's raspberrykids.com.
Oh, hang on. Why can't I find it? RASPI. Kids. KID. Or kids.
KIDD.
Ah.
Play a name.
You caught me at it. Oh, that looks nice as well. I like that. Ooh, nice lamp.
That's yeah. The pictures were taken in a friend's work setting because she decided I needed some decent pictures for the website.
Looks good.
So
that's the website if anyone wants to check it out. But yeah, no, it's that's really good. Edge Kid, I like it. I like the font you've used.
Yeah, the font's nice. Yeah, I can't even remember what one it is now, but yeah, it is.
I'm getting my website redone at the minute, and he gave me a font, and I was like, I don't like it. And like, I like Montserrat, and he doesn't like Montserrat, and I was like, I want Montserrat.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with friends as well. They like Montserrat, and then they're like, "Yep." Other people tell me I can't use it. It's like, why not?
I was like, I can't go on with this font. It's not me.
Yeah. Well, that's like the website is based on nice clean fonts, but if I do any print resources and stuff, they're using like fonts called like fingerprint and permanent marker and stuff because again, just appeals to kids. So it's...
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, like the font makes a difference.
Oh yeah. It's like the websites are probably more tailored to the parents, but the actual resources will be for the kids.
Yeah. No, well, that's probably makes sense because they want to check what they're giving their kids first.
Yeah.
So what is next for the mag and Raspberry Kids? What's coming up?
The magazine, we are trying to get around to get more people to contribute to us again. So we need more articles before we can actually make it go any further. So we kind of want to do that again.
Anyone watching, get in touch with myself or Kerry. Looking for articles, get writing.
Yeah, so we're looking for more articles for Micromag, so we can build the website again, and then we can go and approach our sponsors from the Youth Advertising magazine, and hopefully get them back on board, so we can actually start making a little bit of money again, so we can actually keep the magazine going.
I think, have you told me you go to events and stuff as well, or did I make that up?
Oh yeah, no, well, I used to travel up and down the country at one point to different events and things that went on. So I used to be in London a fair bit for Mozfest when it was down in sort of the next to two. Used to do that every October, which was amazing. Until they decided to go move it out of the UK, probably due to Brexit.
No.
But, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they decided to go and run it in Amsterdam. I think the next one is just because
Holiday?
Well, yes, that was the next thing. It's like, yep, if they'll pay for travel and stuff like what they've done in the past, yeah, quite possibly.
It's expensive though, because like you try and book a hotel and they know there's an event on, so the price just goes.
Yeah, so that's one thing I was lucky about when it was in London. I was like, yep, call it family. It's like, yeah, you're free this week, or is your house free this week?
Yeah, not worried about how you are. Just give me a house.
Yeah, pretty much. No, the last Mozfest I went to would be in 2019. It was literally a case of my auntie was actually in Scotland with my two cousins, so it was only my uncle at home on his own. Then I turn up on the Sunday, so it's like me there for the Sunday, Monday. Then my mum and dad bring them down on like Monday, so it's
like a house swap.
Yeah, so it's like they were literally up in Scotland while I was in London, and then.
Brilliant. And Raspberry Kids, what's happening with that?
So Raspberry Kidd is starting to go back out to schools. So I've started to do a bit more of the educational content and stuff again. I'm planning on going into a couple of schools this week in Dundee with Marty the Robot. So Marty
Tell us more.
Marty is a 3D, or was originally a 3D printed robot done by a company called Robotical in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So he developed this robot basically to get his kids and stuff into programming and things, and took it to many maker fairs and everything, where I first seen Marty. And yeah, so they've literally sent me one for review. So I plan to take it in and get the kids to play with it and see what they think. But he is expensive for a robot. He's like the £200-300 mark of a robot.
Yeah, you'd expect 3D printed, but the prices are coming down. But that's so cool.
Yeah. So we've got Marty the Robot.
You have to program the robot then.
I can apparently programmed using a Raspberry Pi or a Microbit now.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, so that's what I'm digging into.
Moves.
Yeah. So yeah, so I don't know, do I have actually handy or the box handy? So we have Marty the Robot.
Oh, he's so cute. I love his eyes. Do they move around?
Yep, so literally everything on him moves, and he even came with like a wee ping pong ball so he can play football.
Wow, that is so cool.
So yeah,
you can do like a little video with him and like all the things you can do.
Yep, there will be. It's all coming.
The kids are gonna love that.
Oh yeah. I
want to be back at school. I want to learn to code from like 5.
Well, see, this is the type of things that sort of inspired us to study bots. Again, robots this expensive. It's like schools can't really afford that, or not afford many of them, especially if they get broken. So, like, so what can we develop that can go into schools? And a lot of high schools now also have like 3D printers and laser cutters and stuff. So the case of if we can find something cheap enough for the electronics side, they can literally make their own chassis and everything using the equipment they've got in school.
That is so cool.
So the one that I'm working on at the minute is I want to develop a robot based on my grandpa's kit car. So my grandpa had this kit car where I was growing up called a Mini Scamp Mark II.
Yeah.
That he built. So it's like I kind of want to take my grandpa with me into the classroom because he taught me to use his hands and taught me like to follow my dreams into electronics and computing and so the making skills have never really left me in that respect either. So it's like, yeah, I'm now going to build a robot based on his car and take that to school with me.
Oh, that's really lovely.
So yeah, so that's the next thing for us, my kids, is actually getting this robot and stuff all built and electronics working.
And is it just Dundee schools you're working with at the minute?
At the minute, there is...
Come on, other councils, Angus and Perthshire, come on.
Yep, we are planning to try and expand into Perth this year. So now that I've got obviously contact with school teachers and stuff, it's a case of they can now make contact with other schools.
Yeah.
So
it's just like business networking. It's just networking. Exactly. And networking.
Well, that's what I mean. I did go back to my old school back in Aberfeldy a few years ago to talk to the computing teacher there to see what they were doing.
Yeah.
The 7 Ambassador program, they were looking for someone to go in and give them some advice and see what they could be doing. And because the computing teacher that we had decided to leave, and after she left, it was basically maths teachers and science teachers trying to teach computing as well as maths and science.
Oh, no.
So yeah, so it was like, well, they were staying basically one step ahead of the kids.
Yeah, I had a great computing teacher, and I don't know if you found this, but there was like 25 boys and 3 girls.
Yep. Yeah, I was near enough at that when we were in school. It wasn't quite that bad, but yeah, definitely when it went off college, it was literally 2 girls in the degree year and about 15 boys. So,
have you ever found that that's been a barrier to anything?
I've not. It's intimidating walking into places and finding sort of mainly males and things, but then, but no, everyone has been quite welcome. I think especially now they're trying to bridge that gap more, and it's one thing that we're trying to do up here as well, is trying to get more girls into coding and showing them.
I think this is hugely generalization here, but like I have had problems where it's a boys club or whatever where I've worked, but that was more I knew I couldn't do anything about that, whereas like I've always believed that I was equal to everybody else, so I didn't let them treat me any differently. I think sometimes we think we feel unequal or inadequate to the group, and so we let them treat us differently. So I think, psychologically, if you can, you're just the same as everyone else in the room, and try and be like that, then it's
I think it probably helped as well, because when I grew up surrounded by boys. So everyone that was sort of the same age as me, sort of growing up, out of my grandparents and things, were boys. The two boys next door one was basically a month younger than me, and the other one was a year older.
Yeah.
So it's like, everywhere I went, it was kind of boys that we grew up with. It was like boys. I think there was only in the village about 2 or 3 girls that was the same age as me. Everyone else was,
like all the kids when I grew up, we all climbed trees the same way. We all got scratches and hit in the face with balls and stuff, and
we all played football together. Well, it was. I think one of the ones that my gran and the neighbour's mum was surprised by at one point was, it was like summer holidays. We were still in t-shirts, it was roasting outside. It was got dark, because as it does during the Thai holidays, it gets dark early.
Yeah.
We were sitting there by street lights playing tennis up and down the road. So it was a case of all that you could see was just a yellow ball coming towards you. You couldn't really see much else. It was just you knew the ball was coming, and that was it. And
I mean, I've also been lucky that I've grown up and never had parents who said, "Oh, you can't do that," or you
exactly,
can't.
I've always been exactly the same.
They know better than to try and tell me what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I used to disappear out to my grandparents without even tell mum and my dad. I remember either my gran or grandpa would come driving down the road where I was outside some other grand's house, and I would just jump in the car and disappear myself for the weekend, and then phone mum and dad when I got there.
Nice.
So it's a case of mum and dad never stopped me from doing anything. So you find that I was safe, and as long as you do that, they were quite happy.
Yeah, change days now, that's for sure. We used to go off to the park and for hours and just come back by whatever time, and that was it.
That's it. It's a case of parents that expect you to come back when you're hungry, and that was pretty much it. Or or come back when the streetlights come on, and
I remember being so upset once because everyone else was allowed to stay out later and play, and I wasn't. And then by the time they said I could go out, everyone had gone home, and I was like, oh.
So.
The small things.
The one that I remember mostly as well was having my 2-year-old little sister down at the park with me. I would only been about 9 at the time.
Yeah.
And I fell awkwardly and actually broke my elbow. So I tried to tell a 2-year-old that we have to leave the park and get home.
Yeah.
So then get home as well, and my mum and dad didn't believe I'd done anything, so I was still sitting there for about an hour in pain where they actually realised I could not move my arm.
Oh no. Ouch.
Yep.
I dislocated my wrist. That was painful.
Oh yeah.
That's they say that's actually worse than a break. And then they said they cast it overnight, dislocated.
Oh wow, okay.
And then operated in the next morning to reset it. So that was not fun at all. Yeah,
well, we were the same. So I'd stay in hospital overnight because of the time that I'd done it, and we actually got down to the hospital. Then they came in, marked my arm and everything up to get operated on the next day, because they thought the way the bones were setting, they tough to sort of use plates and everything to put it back together.
Yeah.
They then put me under, and the surgeon's like, "Oh, wait a minute," and he just pushed them back into place.
Wow.
So so I never had to get any metal put in my arm. So
that's lucky. Yeah. Do you want to be setting anything off at the airport?
Oh yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I'm not going to lie, I'm finishing up a little bit early because I want to go out and sit in the sun, because I can see my tan is already starting to develop, which is, well, I say tan, this bit is still Scottish on this side.
Oh yeah,
so, yeah. So only bits of me are tanning. So so that's great. I've popped the websites, both of them, in the chat. If anyone wants to get in touch, is that the best place to find you, or LinkedIn?
Yep. LinkedIn and the websites. Yep, there's ways and means on there to find me. So.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's been great to have you. Thank you. So that's it for another week. I am going to enjoy the sun while it lasts because it's going to be raining later on in the week. And also, I don't even think I've got anyone lined up for next week, so we'll have to figure that out. I have been a bit lax with that, but there's been a lot going on. Still no news on the TED Talk either, so I am still waiting on to see a copy of that. So I don't even know how my talk went yet. And the book is still on course to come out in mid-September. I will also be starting to do some speaking later in the year on a real stage. So that is very exciting. Watch out for more news. If you haven't already, you can sign up to my newsletter. If you go to theclassificationguru.com, you can click on the button and subscribe. And that will keep you up to date with all the information that you need, as well as some handy hints and tips. So that is it for this week. I will see you next week. I hope you have a good one. Bye.